Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Man, you know what? This is so sensitive. It's so sensitive to go inside a man's mind. And the reason why I do what I do is because I realize most men don't speak. Most men don't tell their truth or in a transparent way. And it's so much judgment. But if somebody could analyze your thoughts, they might want to lock you up. Or they might want to put you in an insane asylum. Or they might think you a racist, or they might think you whatever, prejudice. They might think you jealous. They might think you a hater. If our thoughts, everything that we think and everything we go through in our life was put out there, like in a transcript, we all would be going to spend time with the devil. And so I want you to understand first how very, very hard this is to be a man and to allow people inside of the male mindset to judge you, to call you stupid, to call you, ignorant, to call you a male chauvinist, a narcissist, and all of these stuff that people will call you when you just trying to bridge a gap, when you just trying to help, when you just trying to create a dialogue because our dads did not completely, fully express themselves. Our uncles, brothers, cousins, men just are known to be closed in and only share certain things. So ladies, understand this. And I might have to turn off the comments. But understand, I keep getting the question of, why did you choose your wife? What did she have that made you choose your wife? And I don't know what good that would do anybody, but I'm going to answer the question. Now, to be honest with you, I'm trying to get right to the point. But to be honest with you, I chose my wife just because I was, quote unquote, looking for a wife, but I didn't know what she would look like. I didn't know how she would show up. When I met my wife, I didn't approach her as, oh, that's my wife. Because my wife didn't have a look in my mind. Because I had started dating. I had been dating since kindergarten, and I had dated across the board. Black women, white women. I think in middle school I dated a Mexican woman. In college, I think I probably dated a Cuban woman or a Puerto Rican. And so I didn't know what my wife would look like. Now, I'm raised in the South, in Florida. So it's a lot of racism. Ku Klux Klan was active while I was growing up. Ku Klux Klan came to my school. They protested. So in high school, when I had dated outside of my race, the father went to his church and had a meeting with him and told him, hey, look, we can't do this. We can't do this. My daughter would not get a job. She would not get her volleyball scholarship to college if she dealing with a black guy. Cannot date outside the race. And I hope you understand, I'm not racist. He said all this. My dad, he called me, he sat down with me. He said, son, hey, talk to your girlfriend, dad. And he said, look, this a no-fly zone. And he's saying, I get it, and he's right. And I said, well, okay, cool, all right, it is what it is. And so I let her know, and then of course she boohoo crying and all of this. No, we can make it work, we gonna fight through this. And I'm like, listen, you hear me? We in the South. You could fight. I'm out of here, because I'm not finna be swinging from one of these trees, because that has happened too much. And I say it's too much going on down here in this South, and the Ku Klux Klan is active. Listen, I don't even know what love is. So I was all over the place as a young man, because I didn't know what a wife looked like. And so when I met my wife, I was in the sleeping around phase. And I was I was saying I was looking for a wife since the age of 16, but I didn't know what I was looking for. So how you gonna find what you don't know exactly what you're looking for? And some men still in that predicament at 35, 40, 45 years old. I happened to be young. And so when I met my wife, for one, I was walking past and I had a situationship girlfriend in Georgia. And so it wasn't really serious because it's long distance. So I'm still doing my thing, and I knew she wasn't the one. I knew she wasn't my wife. She was two opposites. She drank, she smoked, she cursed, she clubbed. I didn't want a woman who does all of that. So I knew it was just a matter of time. When I saw my wife, I thought she was a Puerto Rican. And so I was thinking about, okay, this is another flavor of the rainbow. Maybe just somebody cute I could, deal with. Casual, you think sex is casual, friends with benefits. And I didn't look at it and say, oh, that's my wife, because I didn't have a picture of my wife in my head. And let me explain, when I say Puerto Rico, I'm saying Puerto Rican, but I learned how to talk a lot of my words from my grandma, who's from Alabama, Selma, Alabama, and she's pronounced it Puerto Rico. And I just think that comes from her never seeing the word or knowing how to spell it. So she just was saying what she thought she heard. And so that's how I said it all my life, Puerto Rico. But I don't mean any disrespect. It's just an accent, just a roll on, just like Ebonics. So please don't give me no issues with that. So I thought she was a Puerto Rican. When I sat down and talked to her, we talked for 6 hours straight. She had a little situation that she was tired of, ready to come out of, not in love. He young, of course. We all young. He didn't know how to be a man, didn't know how to treat her. I didn't know how to be a man, didn't know how to treat the woman I was dealing with, didn't know how to treat my wife. And so she broke up. She cut him off. I cut my situation off. We come together, and here's my mindset. I'm going to take you through this, everything. I'm going to take you through this now. I got to turn these comments off because I do not want to hear y'all. I'm going to take you through this. So first is the physical. I look at her. I said to myself when I first saw her, she's cute. She had her hair in a ponytail. She had no makeup, no lipstick. She had on lip gloss. And I said, wow, this is a cute woman, a beautiful. When I say cute, just another term of saying naturally beautiful. And so, like, no, nothing else. No eyelashes, no microblading back then. She didn't have any weave in. So, I didn't see any tracks, or I don't know if glue was in or what was in, but I knew weave when I saw it, because to get a really nice weave hairdo costs a lot of money, and a lot of people didn't have a lot of money where we was. So she didn't have any weave in her hair, and I was not looking for her to be my wife, because for one, I didn't know what her culture, me thinking she's, I don't know if that's a Hispanic, I didn't know what it was going to be like. But when I talked to her, she told me she was Jamaican. And now I'm saying Jamaican, again, my grandmother pronounced it Jamaican, like Jew, Macon. And so when she told me she was Jamaican, I was like, okay, so you black. Because I thought she was some type of Hispanic. And I said, but you black. Because I just knew of one type of Jamaican. But they normally was my color or darker. So I was like, but you kind of a little lighter? She said, well, my mom is a black Jamaican. So, like, her ancestors from Africa. But my dad is an Indian Jamaican. So his ancestors from India. I said, oh, okay, so that's why you light. And so she's about my mom color, which my mom's mom, my grandmother, is darker than me, but my mom is lighter than my wife. So my mom probably had some white in her from probably like a great grand or something like that. But my mom's hair texture is like a traditional black woman. So all the different colors and stuff, it didn't really matter to me because I'm brown skinned. The girl I was dealing with for 2 years before my wife, she my color. Before that, it was, outside of my race. So I wasn't looking for a complexion or a color. And I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I wanted somebody I could relate to. And I couldn't with the woman before my wife because, for one, she comes from a Muslim family. And like I said, she'll pop a pill, she'll smoke weed, she'll get drunk, she'll club. And I'm looking for a woman who can be a role model to our children. And I couldn't count on all that stuff getting cut out when kids pop up. Oh, okay, kids pop up, now you all of a sudden holier than now and you done change your life. So I wanted, and my dad told me, he said, son, find a woman who is what you are looking for, not a woman that you're gonna have to change her or try to control her. And I said, okay, 10-4, I got you. So when I sat down with my wife, I went through the list. I said, okay, she doesn't have on makeup. She was 19, I was 21, and so she didn't have to wear makeup at 19, but a lot of 19-year-olds wore makeup. But she didn't have on makeup. And so I said, okay, that means the person I lay down with is going to be the person I wake up with. Because what was happening is what was happening in a lot of situations is you lay down with Janet Jackson, but you wake up with Freddie Jackson. And so it was a struggle because you would meet a woman and she would look one way. But then if she went to washing her face and do something with her hair, all of a sudden you like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, so, oh, okay, so you have multiple looks. So my mind as a man, I was like, I want a woman who I could wake up to and be attracted to. Like, I want her to look as close to that person, because literally women was looking like two whole different people. And so when she didn't have on makeup, that actually was a plus, or it could have been a light foundation, but most women I could see where it be caked. You could see it's like paste, so you knew it was makeup. Her face was just her face. So I say, okay, she washing her face. She taking care of her skin to the absolute best of her ability, and her skin is flawless. And she don't have on makeup. She does not have on lipstick. She got on lip gloss. So she kind of chill. She's not into the nines, and you know, she is chill. Her hair is in a ponytail. Okay, I didn't know anything about split ends, but I knew what dry hair looked like. I knew what icky, oily looked like. I knew what, you know, her hair looked moisturized. It looked healthy. And then, you know, it had some length to it. You know, she had it in a ponytail, so it was hanging, you know, to her shoulders or whatever. So, which I attributed that to when I found out that she had Indian in her. I realized their hair is totally different. And then so you have African mixed with Indian, so you're gonna be in the middle. And that didn't really matter to me, but I was like, okay, you know, cool. And her conversation, this is what really hooked me, is her conversation. We talked for 6 hours straight the first time we talked, and she did not say a single curse word. And I was like, wow, this woman is mature and classy. She didn't curse. That was uncommon. And she didn't belittle me. She didn't throw any jabs, like trying to knock me off of a high horse, trying to make me feel 2 inches tall, which that was a tactic some women would use, just feeling like, thinking that men love bees, but that's not true. A man already feeling insecure and down, he don't need a woman taking shots at him, taking shots at his little bit of confidence he have left. So she didn't do that. And she could talk about anything. So in them 6 hours, and then the next time we sat down and we talked was 6 hours. And so we could talk about politics, we could talk about religion. So we talked about the televangelist, we talked about the president, we talked about our favorite athletes, we talked about sports in depth, because she played basketball, she played volleyball, and she ran track, and she was on the track team at the college, and we was at Division I school. So, you know, to even get allowed on the team is a big deal. So I'm like, okay, so you're an athlete, But then she also was a biomedical science major. So instead of being a communications major, which is nothing against a communications major, but a lot of athletes who want to go pro, they would do communications major because it was one of the easier majors, which may be different than broadcast and journalism, because a lot of the guys getting ready to go to NFL, their major was communications. So she was a biomedical science major, which is an extremely difficult major, especially while you being an athlete, because you got to do clinicals and stuff at some point. So I'm like, this woman is ambitious. So I said, what you want to do? What do you do? I had never heard of biomedical. So I was like, biomedical? So I tried to go with the flow like I knew what that was. And the highest I had taken was anatomy and didn't do good in that. And she was taking, all this other stuff and organic chemistry. And so she said, I want to be a doctor. So when she said, I want to be a doctor, I said, ding, ding. Now, I'm just being honest with you. I started having stay-at-home dad visions. I said, yes, well, I'm going to get to kick my feet up. You hear me? I'm finna kick these feet up. I'm finna be living lavish off a doctor's salary. Nah, life is not that today. So she always laugh at me about that. So, you had the wrong motives and God flipped it on you. So I said it to myself. So I'm putting everything in perspective. So I said, and she was a Christian. I'm a Christian. She knew the word of God. So we could touch on certain scriptures. We could touch on, pastors that we watch on, whether it was Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes. We talking about different ministries. And so without cursing, she didn't need to take a cigarette break or a Black and Mild break. Back then, Black and Mild girls were smoking or cigarettes if they smoke. She didn't need a Black and Mild break. She didn't need a cigarette break. So I said, okay, she don't smoke, so I don't have to kiss her ashtray, and I don't have to worry about her having nicotine all in her bloodstream and in her pores when we have kids, and I don't have to be smelling smoke because I don't smoke. And she said she didn't really, she go to the club to dance because she's Jamaican, so they get down. Her family get down. I go to her family on her dad's side. Even though they Indian Jamaican, they dance too. They dance. Not so it ain't just Africa. You see it's India. All the countries got their own little flavor. And so she would go to the club because she liked to dance, not to dot around and, pick up men or anything like that. But, and we in college. She's 19. You in college, you living. I was not crazy about the club because I'm not a dancer. And so if I go to the club, it's to pick something up, to get a woman. So motives was different, but I respected hers. But it's not like she was attached or addicted to the club. It just was a, way to, as college kids, how we would cool down. And so I looked at all of this and I said, she's ambitious. She's driven. She is not high maintenance. And what I mean by this is when we linked up, we sat on the bench outside. We didn't have to go to the steak and lobster restaurant for me to sit down with her. And she never asked me for anything. She never expected anything from me. So she brought a lot to the table. And I'm like, I want to do everything for this woman. And even more so because she's not asking or expecting. She bringing all of hers to the table. So not only was she a student, but she was full-time working at the jury stand where I met her at. She worked 40 hours a week there, sometimes more in certain seasons. And so I'm like, she's not afraid to work. And then she paid her all her own bills. So her dad sent her $200 a month for her car insurance. But so she had a car that was paid for because he bought her car. So I said, okay, you come from, a good family. All right. I'm going to have to do enough, be enough for your father. Which I wasn't. I wasn't on that level. And that wasn't a requirement of hers because she wasn't raised with her father. She was raised by her mom, and her dad was there for her, you know, financially, and she would see him in the summers and things, and they built a relationship, you know, differently over time. And so it wasn't this thing like, you got to go sit down with my dad and ask for my hand. She wasn't really on that. And so she was independent. She wasn't like a mama's girl or a daddy's girl. She knew who she was. She knew what she wanted. She knew what she was doing, and she ran her life. She would get her money from the school, and we talked about that, like financial aid and refund checks. She would get $10,000. She'll pay up her rent, pay up all her rent, pay up all her phone bills, pay up, you know, just pay up bills. I said, man, she responsible. She had a closet full of Jordans, so she also lived. So her bills was paid, but she also lived. So I say, man, this woman got balance. So here I am with a woman who is a conversationalist. She can talk, which let me know we can be best friends. So we could be best friends, but she also is ladylike. She wasn't a tomboy. She used to wear skirts with Jordans. So it'll be a jean skirt. You know how the jean skirts maybe have a fray at the bottom or not. They'll come mid-thigh. You know, it's 2005. And she'll have on a pair of Jordans. And she'll have on a t-shirt, form-fitting t-shirt, and it'll have like a little design on it. You know, little glitter words or little something. That was her style. And I loved it because it was like I could see them thighs. It wasn't a mini skirt. It was mid-thigh or a little bit longer than mid-thigh. I could see the thigh muscle. I could see them legs. They was shaved and pretty, which I made a mental note because the women I talked to before her did not shave their legs. So when I saw shaved legs, I was like, man, this is a different look. This feels more ladylike. It just looked more sexy, for lack of a better term. And she shaved under her arm. And so before her, I dated women. They had Whoopi Goldberg in a headlock. You know, if they go to play in their hair and they playing in that, and they go to, you know, to scratch, you know how women used to do. And so my wife, she wore weave, but she didn't have in weave. But when women get their hair braided, they used to be, and whenever they would do that, some of the women I hadn't dated, they had Whoopi Goldberg in a headlock. And so I was so on the aesthetic side of things, I felt like I wanted to see a difference between a man body and a woman body. Like I didn't want both of us to have the same amount of hair on our legs and under our arms. So when I saw my wife shave, I was like, okay, this different. This awesome. This nice. I love this. And I had dated a girl that shaved too, but most recently. And then the girl I was with before my wife, I was in that situation for 2 years. So we would be riding, and you know, God bless her soul and everything. I'm trying to talk about the past, but other people, we'll be riding, and I was used to women plucking chin hairs. You know, 18, 19 years old, plucking chin hairs. And so, which ain't nothing wrong with it, because if it grow, okay. But to see the opposite, I was like, So aesthetically, she's beautiful. The one thing that I had to mature in one area is one day she had on some khaki pants. And so when she used to wear skirts, I couldn't really tell it because it would hug her hips. But when she put on these khaki pants one day, she was walking away, and I was looking at her, called myself being romantic, watching her walk away. And when I looked at her, her booty did like this. And so being in the South, and you know, you used to this because we eat, you know, a lot of soul food in the South. So you used to hump on the back. When her booty did like that, it was early on too. First couple weeks that I met her, I was like, Lord, I don't know, Lord, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. But then my spirit said, Tony, it's not about that. It ain't all about outside appearance and looks and all of that. Like, it's cool. Like, y'all gonna have kids, so the body gonna fill out. And she's an athlete. She running like crazy every day. So what you expect her to be carrying? And she had, nice thighs. And she was, I can't take y'all through every thought, because not everything is relevant or But I'm looking at her, I'm like, okay, she beautiful, cute, fine, pretty, beautiful. It all meant the same to me. But not to women I've learned, because I'll say my wife was cute, and I just mean, what I mean by that is naturally beautiful, and they be like, your wife is gorgeous, your wife is beautiful, and I'm like, I know that, but I'm just saying, my terminology is at 21 that she was cute. And y'all also, now you seeing a woman who, she got top of the level maintenance and everything. When I met her, so y'all seeing her today with Giorgio Armani Foundation and everything. Like, we blessed. So you seeing somebody, she was not the same person when I met her. Eyebrows was real thin back then, so the look was totally different. Hair wasn't how they do it today. It was in a ponytail, greased down, no red lip. Not all that. Not $300 facials. So, it's a pretty woman. I wasn't like I was like falling out. But the more I looked at her, the more I fell in love, because God had made her flawless. And so my little issues that I had, it didn't really matter. But the key thing, what I was looking at, what really got me, was the fact that she knew God. She knows God. She has a religion. She has faith. So she was trying to live the Christian lifestyle to the best of her ability. And then the other thing is, she was dealing with her insecurities and her issues herself. She didn't project onto me. So she didn't try to belittle me. She didn't try to argue with me. She didn't try to emasculate me. She didn't try to dominate the conversation. She listened to me. I could talk as long as I needed to talk, and she would listen. And then when I would give a break, give a moment, then she could respond, and she could talk as long as she needed to talk. So it was a two-way street. She didn't expect anything. She wasn't like, yeah, are you gonna take me out to eat? She wasn't asking me for anything. She wasn't demanding anything. The only thing she demanded was respect. Don't try to control her, yell at her, dominate her, manipulate her. And when I tried to do that early into our dating relationship, she dipped on me. She didn't yell at me, curse at me, try to belittle me with her words. She just showed me her back. I'm out of here. And I respected that. So 6 months later, when we got back together, because I reached out to her for a friend of mine who wanted to connect with her roommate, and then he didn't show up, so I said, well, can we still connect? And when we connected, come to find out, the first time around when we dated and we hit it off, I had told my people that that's my wife. And she had told her roommate I could marry that man. So when we came back around, we was like long overdue. We were missing each other, but neither one of our egos would allow us to go back and say, look, let's do this again. Let's give it another shot. I moved on with my life. She moved on with her life. And then we came back due to the will of God. I thank God that happened the way it did. It was meant to be. And that's why I believe in that too. Like, go on about your business. And if it's meant to be, the man gonna come back for the woman. And so I came back and we hit it off and we got right back into it again. And this time around, I knew, okay, this is not the type of woman that you can be trying to control and tell her where she can and can't go, and always checking about where she at, what she doing, who she with, who she talking to. Show me your phone, show me your voicemail, show me this, show me that. This is a woman that you're going to have to mature. You're going to have to be a real man, get out them insecurities and really be real. And so when I saw that in her, that she was willing to walk away, even though we had that first time around, we had been together for a few months, we had become intimate. And so she had some naive, how you say that word, naivete. She was naive in certain areas to the ways of a man, to the tricks of a man. So I was able to get over in some areas. But even though we had become intimate, she was willing to cut her losses and say, okay, boom, I cut my losses for my respect, for my overall. You're not going to treat me like a lap dog, like I'm your, puppy. You're going to have to respect me as a grown woman. And so as a grown woman, I chose to be intimate with you as my boyfriend. But as a grown woman, I'm going to choose to walk away if you're going to try to control me and dominate in the relationship. And so when she showed me that, I was like, wow, this woman here different. A lot of times when a woman becomes intimate with a man, she feel like, oh, I'm stuck. I got to make this work by any means necessary because I've given my body to this person. My wife, although I was her second boyfriend, she still was in a space to where she was learning and she was growing. And one thing she was going to refuse to do is be controlled. And so when I got back with her, I really respected that and I remembered that and I realized I had to grow and I had to change. And so I decided to treat her differently. And I changed for her because she wouldn't accept less. And I wanted to be a better man, but she pulled it out of me. She was the influence. That's why we got that book coming out in April called A Woman's Influence. So make sure you pre-order that book if you have not. Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, whatever.com, wherever you buy your books from, pre-order A Woman's Influence. It authorizes your card, but it won't charge your card until it'll fall off, and then it'll charge your card the night before it releases, it comes out April 7th, 2020. So please pre-order that book today. Because my wife is writing in that book. She wrote her part after each chapter, sharing her perspective and her viewpoints. And I think it'll bless you because this is just my side of it. And so when I got back with my wife, I realized that I chose this woman because she had everything that I needed and that I wanted that I maybe didn't even know. So because she took care of herself on the outside and on the inside. So she took care of her skin, her hair, her nails, her body, and I respected that. She had ambition and she had drive. In school to be a doctor. She had self-respect. So wouldn't let me take advantage of her, wouldn't let me use and abuse her, wouldn't let me control her. And then she had class, did not curse, did not drink. She drank, but not drunk. Didn't get drunk. You have a social drink here and there. Didn't get drunk, didn't curse, didn't smoke. And, had tried with friends or whatever, but that wasn't her lot in life. To be a smoker and a drunkard and a cursing, like a sailor. And so she had that class. And she had responsibility. Her bills were paid. Her grades were A's. So when I put all that together, responsible, integrity, class, self-respect, maturity, conversation, security, that was a wife. That represented a wife, because what it said to me is she won't try to belittle me and disrespect me either in a relationship. She won't be no argumentative, trying to fight and throw glass up against the wall type of woman. If I'm not respecting her, she just gonna leave. But she ain't gonna try to fight with me and send me to jail. She just gonna get out of my life and let me grow up by myself. The other thing is, she's not coming into this thing with her hand out saying, pay my bills, do everything for me as my boyfriend. She come and say, I'm working myself, I'm paying my own bills, I take care of me. If I gave her something, she would accept it. If I paid for the date, she let me pay for the date. But she never asked me for anything. She never expected anything from me. We was married. Before she said, can I have this? We had been married for years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And she was not working because our son was born 2.5 months early, and she had to be at the hospital with him every day. She wanted to be there, and so she had to quit her job. And she finished her bachelor's and she finished her master's. And So she still was juggling, got a master's degree with a son who was sick and required a lot of attention and a lot of time. And so when I put all that together, I said, this is a wife, because not only does she respect herself, but she respects me as a man, and she's not trying to emasculate me. And then not only does she respect herself and she respect me, but she's responsible. So when we had our son, because of how responsible she was with her money and her grades and her life and her body and her mind, I knew that she would be a great mother, because I didn't have to worry about my child getting nicotine in his pores from her pores, or tobacco, in his pores from her pores, or marijuana from her pores to his pores. I didn't have to worry about my child being left alone and left to fend for himself, because she's so focused on clubbing and having a good time and being out and about and being whatever. She had her priorities in order. She had her responsibilities taken care of. And that made me truly, truly, really fall in love with her and see her as a wife. So I know that's a long answer, but I done changed my mind, because I like to be thorough with my explanation. And I like to explain stuff, all the way out. So to be honest with you, I feel like I've been talking 5 minutes and I've been talking 36 minutes. So forgive me for that. And if it's not for you, don't worry about it. 2 or 3 people wrote me and said, Tony, your video too long. Well, guess what? My channel ain't for you. My channel ain't for you. So God bless you. But if you got this far, put be blessed in the comments. And please understand this. Don't understand, when I chose my wife, I was 21 years old. So my thought process, that was my honest thoughts. And that's how I was looking at life. And my experience is my experiences. Growing up in the South with colorism, with racism, sexism, my experiences are my experiences. And I had to learn from them, grow from them. And so when I chose my wife, I honestly was not looking. I was looking, but I was not necessarily ready. I became ready. And that's one of the things that a lot of women don't understand, is that a man is never 100% ready for marriage. A man, he may tell you that just for the, political reasons, like to be politically correct, but a man is never 100% ready for marriage. A man learns he's ready for marriage when he meets his wife. So I was ready to keep sleeping around, keep having one night stand, keep being a dog, and just keep doing me. But when I met my wife, I said, okay, now I got to become a husband, because this woman is wife level. This woman the next level. This woman classy. I got to become a husband. And so at that point, that's what I had to do. And so I had to grow. And I tried to make her settle. I tried to make her be, mediocre with me, but she wasn't with it. She dipped on me. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to be excellent like her. And so when I got her back, I said, this must be God, because my ego was still too big. It didn't let me chase her and chase after her, even though I felt like she could be my wife. I was young enough and dumb enough to let it go and be like, okay, I'll keep it moving. And that's what a lot of men do. A lot of men can meet you and you could be wife material. You could be wife ready. But because he's just not mature, he'll let you go. And he may not regret it, because he don't even understand it. So when I let my wife go, when she let me go and I let her go by not chasing her, I didn't regret it. I didn't lose sleep over it at all, because I was too young and egotistical and invincible. And some men like that at 35, 40. And so it just depends on his mindset. But when I got her back, when we circle back around, I said, this must be God. So I got to do the right thing by this woman. So I had to grow. And then when I married her, the grown boy tried to resurface in me. And I said, well, I'm married to her, so now she trapped. So if I want to be a hustler, I want to be in the streets, this is my opportunity, because we married. So I tried to go back to the streets, and she left me again. She left me in dating once, and she left me in marriage once. And that's all she had to do. From there, I got the picture, and I realized I'm dealing with a real one. This woman ain't bluffing. This woman ain't playing no game. This woman say, this is what I need, and I refuse to compromise. I'm not going to be yelling with you. I'm not going to be arguing with you. I'm not going to be chasing you. I'm not finna be following you. I'm not finna be babysitting you. You going to become a man, or you going to be by yourself, or you going to be without me. That was her energy. She didn't say it in those words. She just showed me with her actions. And to this day, 13 years, we'll be 13 years of marriage in March 2020. Make 13 years. My wife has never yelled at me. My wife has never yelled at me. My wife has never cursed at me. I've given her reasons to yell and to curse. She never yelled. She never cursed. She never got out of character. She literally, y'all forgive me, my hand was on the horn. Y'all forgive me. That woke you up if you were asleep. That woke you right up. My hand was on my horn. She dipped on me in dating and in marriage. And after that, that was like, remember I say, if it's 3 strikes in baseball, you shouldn't have to give 3 strikes in a relationship. If they only give you 3 strikes in a game, this your whole life. Your life depend on this thing. You shouldn't have to keep telling an adult what you need from them over and over and over and over and over. My wife had to let me know in 2 different arenas, in relationship, how to talk to her, deal with her. She let me know that in dating. And then in marriage, she let me know what she need from me as a man as far as integrity is concerned, meaning I got to live an honest lifestyle. I can't be a credit card scammer. I can't be a drug dealer. I can't be any type of illegal dude. I got to be 100% legit. So treat her right and live a legit lifestyle. And that's the only way she going to be with me. And she showed me that. And by showing me that, I grew and I had to man up. So, hey, to those of you, several ladies kept asking me, what made you choose her? And that's what it is. Her class, the way she treat her body, the way she live her life, her heart, the fact that she dealt with her own insecurities and didn't take it out on me, and her love for God and just want to be a good person and live a good life, her responsibility, her being responsible. Those are the things that made me choose my wife. Had she been a drunkard that had to get drunk every week, it wouldn't have worked. Had she been a smoker, it wouldn't have worked. Had she cursed like a sailor and was unwilling to give up cursing like a sailor, it wouldn't have worked. Had she been the type that was like maxed out on credit cards and too, behind on her rent, but making the money for the rent and for her bills, but not paying it because she's shopping and trying to look like something that she's not, it wouldn't have worked. Had she been the type that was addicted to the club because she want to go out and get the attention from the men and be out and be on the scene all the time, it wouldn't have worked. Had she not had any goals or ambition, it wouldn't have worked. If she was just expecting the man to be her meal ticket, to take care of her, and she didn't want more in life, she wasn't trying to grow, she just cool being, a customer service rep. Like, if all she wanted is just to work in the middle of the mall at the jury stand, and she didn't have bigger dreams beyond that, and it wouldn't have worked. But because she had big dreams and wanted to be a doctor, and while working in the middle of the mall at the jury stand, there was a jury stand in the middle of the mall. While doing that, that showed me the balance of hunger and humility, and so that's why it worked out. Hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you. I hope this makes sense to you. Forgive me if it doesn't. If too many people go off on a tangent about the wrong thing, I'm gonna have to cut these comments off because people get to, being just crazy and toxic, and I don't want anybody who hanging in the balance, who come in here really trying to, add something to their life, get a perspective to benefit their life, to be distracted by toxic people who want to harp about, the environment I grew up in or the mindset that I had at 20, 21 years old. Hey, God bless you. We'll talk soon.